Hello, 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 and welcome to the Freq Show. This is episode 41, and today's topic is what to expect from the Freq Show in 2025. This is going to be a shorter episode. I wanted to do it as a little preview of what we have coming this year. If you are trying to watch this episode on YouTube, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's all audio today. It's just me on the mic. Sam is not here. We have had a good but very busy start to the new year, and we are drinking from a fire hydrant. We had a nanny for a couple of years, and she unexpectedly had to switch positions, and so we've been without childcare and figuring out what to do next there so we can continue to spend time with our son at home, but also get some work done. So that, on top of everything else in life, I'm sure you can relate. It's just been a lot of juggling. And so here I am on the mic alone. This harkens back to my self-worth days where I had a solo podcast and loved doing it. I did a little video with that one, but not a lot. And it's kind of nice to just be behind the mic. No lights, no cameras, a little less pressure. I'm in my made the label sweats and just not worried about looking good or impressing anybody. And that's always a nice thing. So back to today's topic. What can you expect from the Freq Show in 2025? We, as Sam and I, when we started this podcast, we were so excited and still are so excited to talk about what high frequencies are and how they can impact your life. It's called the Freq Show, FREQ, because of frequency and our appreciation and fascination with frequency. So, of course, we're going to talk about frequency, but specifically, we want to be your source for high frequency living. So it's not just during a healing time. It's not, one part of the month or just a single part of your week. We want to create, inspire, and walk the talk of people who live the most high frequency lives possible. So what is high frequency living? High frequency living, we've talked about this before, but absolutely it's about the frequency of belief, which is knowing what you want, acting on it, and believing relentlessly that it is yours. And then in addition to that, the way that we define high frequency living is spiritual, mental, and physical optimization. Sam and I by no means feel like we have mastered every single one of these areas, but we are on a quest to master every single one of these areas. And so if you are also in that quest and you want high frequency information and really cool inspirational episodes every week, then this is going to be a podcast that you want to listen to. If you've already reached the top of the mountain in the spiritual, mental, and physical areas, then maybe this podcast is not for you. But I know for Sam and I, every time we reach the top of a mountain, we find that there's always more to learn, always more to do. And I'm really excited to hone in and refine my approach to spirituality, mental health, and also mindset, and then physical optimization. We work out, but there are so many ways that we can continue to physically optimize. Going back to the question of what is high frequency living, I said it's the frequency of belief, of course, spiritual, mental, physical optimization. And then if you're thinking about this, I always think about the frequency chart with enlightenment, being at the very top, and then love and joy and unconditional love, contentment. And then in the middle, you've got anger. And at the very bottom, you have shame and grief. And no, it's a shame that Brene Brown talks about all the time. I don't have the frequency chart right in front of me, but if you think about it in those terms with enlightenment being on the top and unconditional love being on the top and shame being on the absolute bottom, we want to usher in our lives, and then hopefully by proxy in your lives, high frequency living on a daily basis. And look, life is hard. I'm not going to deny that. Circumstances arise, things happen that we all wish wouldn't happen. Like right now while I'm recording this, there are horrendous fires in LA. It's, so many people's worst nightmare. And so we can't control life, but we can control how we react to life. And so I want this podcast to be a place where you come, you feel like you can do a mental reset, and then you can tackle your life with the highest frequency energy possible. How are we going to do this? How are we going to be your source for high frequency living? Well, that is going to be an ever expanding and changing process. But early last week, I was awakened in the night with some ideas because I feel like while I'm proud of our podcast so far, I'd like it to be a little bit more organized. I'm a Virgo. I like things to be tucked away, bound up, and in their place. And I think the best way to do that is to introduce categories for the shows for each episode. And what I mean by that is we'll still have an episode number. So today is 41. But then after the episode number, you'll see a category. And some of the categories that we are thinking we will touch on are belief, business, finance, which is super important, spirituality, personal development, health, beauty, relationships, children, and then current affairs. And the reason I wanted to do this was because there are so many podcast episodes out there. And I am honored that you listen to ours. And I also want to make it even easier for you to go into our podcast Rolodex and go, hey, here's what I need today. I need some business inspo, or I need some finance inspiration, or hey, I want to go a little bit lighter today and I want to learn some more about skincare. But rest assured that we will be bringing you, to the best of our ability, the highest frequency information that we can possibly bring. And that to me is information that is as closely aligned to nature as possible. And hopefully that's not confusing, but nature is harmonious, right? There are all these cycles, some of them tough, but for the most part, nature is extremely harmonious. And so I gauge my information hunting with what feels like it's in harmony with natural cycles of life, and the natural cycles of nature. And so that's kind of my filter. And then again, we'll be adding these categories so that hopefully it's just really easy for you to decide what you want to listen to. And again, in a world where there are so many podcast episodes dropping every single day, I want to make it super easy for you to choose what you want to listen to and curate your own experience. So that's why we're doing that. Then we are also going to bring in more guests and experts in these areas. So belief, specifically the frequency of belief and belief in ourselves, and business and finance and spirituality and health and current affairs and kids and all of the things that are just so important to us that sometimes we just need a little guidance and wisdom in. Then we are also, as it relates to how are we going to give you guys and be the source for the highest frequency information, we are going to share more of our real life experiences and lessons learned. I feel like there's nothing more powerful than a story. And so Sam and I are going to continue to share stories from our own life and things that have impacted us, tough lessons learned. And boy, there have been a lot of those. So we will still be raw and honest and real. And then we also are in the process of curating an email newsletter. This is something that I have been working on for, I'm embarrassed to tell you how long, but curating a newsletter that will go out monthly, maybe bi-monthly, with information about the episodes coming up and also high frequency products that we are affiliated with that we absolutely love and use regularly, as well as other inspirational material, book recommendations, stuff like that. Stuff, information that when it hits your new inbox, or the intention for this newsletter is that when it hits your inbox, it's something you want to click on because it's very useful, high frequency information that is going to add to your life. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything I haven't hit on here. Sam added a note on my notes and he said how we are aligning and navigating our lives with these principles. So that just, I think, is in addition to real life experiences and lessons learned, and how we are vertically integrating what we are learning in all of these categories that we're introducing. So lots of stories, lots of personal accounts. I also want to say that we have been working on the Freq app. We've mentioned it on this podcast several times. We've been working on the Freq app since June of last year. It has been done since November, but the payment integration has been really hard working with Apple and with Google. And so that has delayed us, but the Freq app will be done and ready for you guys to enjoy so soon. I'm so proud of this app. And for those of you who don't know what it is, I've been calling it a pocket best friend for when you need a reset. We have music that is infused with literal frequency, and then messages that Sam and I have written. Most of them have messages. Some of them are just frequency music, but messages that are organized by frequency and then by category. So if you want to feel more joyful, if you want to feel abundant, if you want to feel serenity, you can choose by those frequencies. Or if you want to choose by category, like you're driving to work or you just spent time with a very difficult person. I tried to think of all kinds of categories for feelings that I feel in my everyday life to help me reset. Most of the calibrations are very short, in between 3 and 7 minutes. We even have a category for cold plunging. We have a category for red light. We have a category for walking, cooking. Just basically anytime you feel like you have a dip in your energy, you have a dip in the frequency that you are operating on, I want you to think of this app as like, this is my literal tuning fork. I can open this up and restart. Just hit that energy restart button and change the state that I am operating from. So that's what you can expect in 2025. We have big plans, and they are always flexible. We're always open to, new ways of doing things and life as it comes at us. So we may have to do some pivots, but for the most part, what I just shared with you is our intention for 2025. We want to be your source for high frequency living. We want you to come here. We want you to hang out with us and finish each episode feeling lighter and more high vibe than you did when you clicked on it. If you've gotten this far with me, thank you. I can't wait to continue to connect with you this year. I know Sam feels the same way, and I'm excited to bring you some really stellar guests as well, and more solo episodes. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Live on purpose, live on frequency, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to The Freq Show with Sam Thurmond and me, Jaclyn Steele Thurmond. We would love to connect with you via our website, beckonliving.com, and on social media.
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Beck & Living, and you can join our email list to receive uplifting messages, podcast and business updates, and discounts on high-frequency products just for our freaky community.
Cheers to high frequency living.